Hello, sweethearts and lovelies, and welcome back once again to Quantum Leap Reviews, the show where we talk about the best time travel show that America ever made. I'm Fresno Inferno, and joining me are my two usual co-leapers, Mike Luvian and Sean Dillon.
I think
Yeah,
we're bikers in this episode.
I think we're bikers. I don't know. We might be waitresses. I don't know.
I mean, my
I suppose I
VTubers,
could be Jack Kerouac.
my VTubers got that snazzy leather jacket, so you know. But this is Rebel Without a Clue, season 3 episode. I really should have looked that up.
I can look up.
Yeah, we are. Yeah, it is a season 3 episode. Post
I say
post
8, 9.
the implications of the season 3 opener, given one of Sam's lines early in the episode.
Well, yeah.
Season 3, episode 9.
I figured
Yep.
it's that. Yeah, it should be right around the mid-season. So there's a bit of context since we're going all over the place with Quantum Leap here. You know, season 3 is pretty stable. We got the traditional intro for Quantum Leap, and we won't really have to talk about intro things again unless we get like early season 2 or season 1 or season 5. Actually, there's a lot of opportunities to talk about intros now that I think about it.
It's season 5's intro is
Yes.
whoever made that creative decision. I have words to say.
Mike, save some in the tank for when we spin it on the wheel.
I mean, we do have to talk about Leave Harvey Oswald eventually.
Good
Eventually.
point.
And lots of other things. But what else was I going to say? Oh, yes. Season 3. This is the calming down period after some rather tumultuous episodes. Big, important headliners, namely the season 2 season finale and the season 3 two-parter, which are just... Ooh, they're going to be a humdinger to talk about. And as Mike alluded to, the season 3 opener will have some relevance to a certain plot in this story.
And then it starts to calm down, and then the Halloween episode kind of threw everything into a whack, and now we're one episode before the Christmas episode. It's very weird. Season 3's all over the place.
It's a little...
Wait, so Halloween comes after Christmas?
No. Halloween was before this.
Halloween is... the Halloween episode is the Boogeyman. That's episode 5.
Oh, that's a classic.
That is an episode... that is an episode where literally you could just replace Sam with the Doctor and Al with the Black Guardian, and it would work for Doctor Who.
Oh, Jesus. That's also the one.
Wait, that later. That will be a later explanation, but that's the basis of it.
So would that make God the White Guardian?
Yeah.
Yes.
This is the strangest start to a podcast about enlightenment I've ever had. Also, Rain, if we spin the Boogeyman, you're drafted, and that's not even me talking. That's Mike. Mike, I can't stop.
No,
Mike.
no. If we get the Boogeyman, Rainiac's coming in here, because that is the episode I keep trying to push onto him. Because oh my god,
But believe you me, if I could stop Mike, then this Wizards of Oz shit would have been done years ago. Mike can't be stopped.
I mean, if we're going to be doing Wizard of Oz, then we might as well do the Twin Peaks podcast.
Oh, God. So let's talk about bikers, because this episode's about motorcycle bikers.
I'm surprised Michael Cera wasn't in this episode.
Honestly, the opening, even right from the get-go, right when Sam leaps onto the bike, and he starts swerving, I'm like, wait, because we already learned, from minutes, 30 to 60 seconds in, that we're in another jokester, just like Tom.
Oh my God, the synchronicity.
And so, Bone, our leapy of the episode, is a jokester who likes to play practical jokes. I don't know, try and crash into other people.
Oh, goodness, I suddenly don't know how to ride a motorcycle. Almost as if another person is inhabiting my body. You card, Bone. Except not all the bikers. Except, whereas in Genesis we had that, in this episode we have, you fucking jokester, I'm gonna stab you in the chest, you fuckhead! Mad Dog has some anger issues, let us say.
Yeah, there are a lot of anger issues with this episode.
Yeah,
for sympathetic and not so sympathetic reasons.
we
it's,
thought,
it,
oh goodness, phew, we've rolled rubble without a clue. That's not a heavy one at all. And then the episode is about the cycle of trauma and abuse. Oh, joy!
oh yeah.
Yep.
Well, this episode really it opens and you think, oh, we're just about the biker culture, and it's gonna be like, oh, we're just in a 50s biker gang. It'll be like Grease, and
Jack Kerouac's here.
And Jack Kerouac shows up later in the
Also Jack
episode. which
Kerouac.
gets
And
it.
then we talk about the Korean War and our main female protagonist, Becky.
Becky, yes.
Becky.
Becky is talking about how her mother killed herself and her father died of a drink. And then we get sexual assault.
Yeah.
Fun time!
What? Well, okay. Look, it was going to happen at some point. We were going to touch on the heavy shit in Quantum Leap. I suppose it's just as well that it's here instead of, in one of the really, really heavy episodes like The Trial of Katie McBain. But
This is us dipping our toes into it. It's not fully in the deep end of the pool like with Justice or Katie McBain, but this is just us touching the pool to be like, I don't know.
then again, when you consider watching the show like as broadcast, you got 3 or 4 episodes of taking it safe, and then it slapped you in the face with The Color of Truth. So we're getting off light.
Yeah. So yeah, So we start with the biker. We start with the biker and Al already being like, "Oh my God, you're a biker! I needed to see your bike." And it's like he's all once again like, he's the everyman. He's like hullabaloo, like, "Oh my God, look at this beautiful bike!"
It is a pretty cool motorcycle, not gonna lie.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm gonna tell you this right now. I could never do a motorcycle because I couldn't keep the balance.
Oh,
Yeah, and I don't think I could handle the noise level.
yeah. I don't
Because
think
some
I
of
could
those can
handle
get
the.
really loud.
I've been on all-terrain vehicles, and the speed and the way that it just lurches in your stomach, I can't do that.
Yeah, there ain't no way. And so after one of the bikers cuts the fuel line, they all are like, "Hey, let's go. Let's just keep going down the road. I heard there's something down here."
There's a
So we
diner
follow-
20 minutes down the road. You can handle yourself.
Yeah, at first Dylan comes across as, the leader of the bikers comes across as a bit reasonable. He's a jerk, but he's not a complete dick. And the episode goes forward, and hoo boy.
Womp
Yeah,
womp.
we basically at the beginning of the episode you think, "Oh, this is like the greasers in Greece." It's the bikers. It's these 50s kids just rebelling against the man and all this stuff. But then you get to the diner.
Before we get to the full extent of the diner, I'd like to note something about a specific detail that's in the background of the diner, and mainly that's the song "The Great Pretender," which is playing in the background, which is very much an apt song for Quantum Leap, a song about a man who, on the surface, seems quite happy, but there's a sadness deep within him,
Oh.
and also somebody who constantly pretends to be something that he's not.
Oh my God.
The other thing I'd like to know about that song is who's performing that song.
Who's that?
The Platters.
Uh-huh.
Fresno might remember them from a different work of science fiction.
I'm blanking.
The black and white episode of Twin Peaks?
Oh no. Well, I thought that episode had the 9-inch nails.
Yeah, but when they go back to the 50s,
Oh.
the song that's playing on the radio is also by the Platters.
Oh no.
It's
Yep.
calling you to once again.
Mike, you
It
realize
is
what episode we're talking
happening.
about? The black and white
Oh,
one.
Mike,
God,
If
the
you
freaking
join
bomb.
us for that, we are gonna have fun.
I hate the bomb episode.
Got a light?
Godlight.
Don't start. I do not like the bomb episode.
Oh, well, maybe one day we will talk about that in great detail and have a blast. Pun
Yeah.
unintended.
So trying to get us away from Twin Peaks, and as its tendrils try to pull Fresno into talking about the Wizard of Oz.
James was
So-
always cool. Oh, that's-
So about the diner.
Rowdy boys just drinking beers.
And talking about the Korean War, which was most assuredly not a police action.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Oh my god. So yeah, we get like not even 15 minutes in, we get introduced to the fact that things are not what they seem.
Yeah,
This is not going to be a simple leap.
we start with having, we get the transition into the Korean War discussion is very interesting. We learn a bit about Becky, mainly that she's a writer who wants to have a career here and has a love of the road. Oh, and she reads a bit of her writing, which confuses one of the bikers who doesn't get what metaphors is. Sam, our hero, explains the situation about how metaphors are words that don't mean what you say on a literal level. And then Dylan goes, "Oh, you mean like how they called it a police action?"
Oh.
Yeah. Uh-huh. And that's your first sign that something is terribly amiss here.
I mean,
Then we get our good friend of the episode, a man who you just feel for him the entire episode. We meet with the diner operator and owner, Mr. Ernie. So, Mr. Ernie is the owner and operator of the diner where these bikers have found their way in, and you just feel for him the entire runtime of this episode. He's just hard. He's just a ball of unresolved grief.
mm-hmm.
On some level, he knows his son is dead.
Yeah, on some level, when he hears Dylan and all them talking, he goes and talks to Dylan early in the episode, and he mentions that he himself is holding his own son's bike in the barn. And Dylan's like, "Really? What's he have?" And he goes, "Oh, it's a Black Shadow." Now, I'm not a biker person, but yeah, even I know a Black Shadow is a rare bike.
Cool bike.
So, but yeah, Dylan's like, "Really?" That automatically sparks something in his head. And as Sam goes into the back to wash up, Al has returned with horrible news. While Sam's complaining about all these people, Al isn't even looking at him and goes, "You are here to prevent a murder."
Bum bum bum.
Yes.
And if this was not an episode where we go into the abusive angle of things, you could arguably see a version of this episode where Ernie was the one who was murdered for the bike.
Yeah.
But instead, Sam immediately clocks that it's Becky who's going to die.
And it's interesting because of the way they play it, because, at first they're like, oh, she's going to get stabbed 24 hours from now. And you think, obviously, well, the completely unhinged mad dog who reacts to mild teasing, like, "I'm going to stab you in the face," is the one who did it. But then we slowly realize, oh, her boyfriend's actually a complete fucking mess and kind of a piece of work.
And that's where I think history changed for the first time.
Really?
because Dylan talking to Ernie happens after the realization of what Sam is here to do.
Mm-hmm.
So you go from Al telling Sam that, Sam getting, keep antagonizing Mad Dog over and over until Ernie goes to talk to Dylan. And then that is when the first line is, and that's where it goes from, instead of probably like Mad Dog doing it over some probably just inoffensive word, Dylan is now the one, and oh boy, he's got problems.
He,
Yeah.
I mean, he definitely has some unresolved trauma from the Korean War, and that much we can sympathize with to a degree. But what he does because of it, no.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, after Sam first goes to try and talk to Becky,
Mhm.
and
She opens up about her backstory, which again, bleak.
Quite bleak.
Bleak, and all the bikers, chastise Bone, and they're like, we're just gonna go down the beach. You fix your bike, come meet us. That's when we learn about Ernie's own unresolved grief.
Yeah. And
Ernie, do you want to tell it, Sean?
uh his son is not a Sam, I think, in a moment that highlights a bit of the politics of the creator of NCIS, immediately goes, he's not a communist. And it's clear that Ernie's son is dead. Like, everyone clocks that he's dead. And it's not going to be official until 2 years after the events of these episodes. A few months after that, Ernie dies.
It it's unresolved grief over the loss of it, and what keeps Ernie going is the possibly unfounded belief that his son is just simply over there. Yeah, he's probably, either brainwashed or still hid, but Ernie still thinks, no matter what, that his son is still there. But 2 years after this episode, he is returned home.
I mean, there's a lot of things going on here. First of all, the fact that poor Ernie has been keeping a stockpile of his son's presents up in the closet, every Christmas and birthday.
Yeah.
For
We
when he
find that
comes
out after things get awkward,
Yeah.
to say the least.
Linearity is a weird thing. I just wanted to bring that up now. But secondly, this entire thing. Oh, this person I care about has been gone missing in Vietnam, but I'm sure they're alive. I'm sure they're alive. Is, I mean, incredibly resonant. We haven't talked about it, but that's basically Al's backstory.
That's Al's backstory, and that, funny enough, that also connects with Sam.
Oh yeah,
Early,
he even has
early,
a line
early,
about that.
yeah, early in season 3, you find out, or you find out in season 2, but in season 3, it is resolved that Sam's brother dies in Vietnam.
Oh boy.
That's a heavy leap.
We're not gonna go into that yet, but this is kind of like how Sam can connect to Ernie.
Mm.
And it's, you just feel for him when he's looking at these, like, these photos in these articles of just like, he might be over there. And Al's just like, and Sam's like, maybe we should just tell him. And Al's like, no, that would literally kill him. You can't do that.
A better future is eventually made, but it is striking how much of this episode has that central theme of how people react to this trauma and how they deal with it and learn with it. I mean, you've got people like Ernie who pine for their lost loved one but are otherwise mostly functioning. You got people like Dylan who has obvious PTSD and is coping with it in very unhealthy negative ways. And then you've just got Mad Dog who's just, rawr.
And then you have Becky.
And Becky, yes, who, as we've mentioned, has a real, real bad time of a backstory.
Yeah. And one she is repeating again.
And then we find out, and then we find out just exactly how deep the trauma for Dylan is
Oh,
when
this fucking beach.
When Al tells Sam where Becky's gonna be found stabbed. Sam gets on his bike and starts booking it there as fast as he can, as Becky is trying to stand up for Ernie's, as they all know, dead son, to stop Dylan from stealing the bike, the Black Shadow. And Dylan at this point, Dylan not even is just a wreck. He's like yelling all about this. He's seeing. At this point, I don't even think he sees Becky.
Mm.
Of course, at some point that just doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I mean, the worst part is that Mad Dog is egging on. He's like, "Oh, you gonna let your old lady talk to you like that, too, Mr. Big Shot?" And yikes,
And
Rooney.
then Dylan almost commits a sexual assault. Well, and Becky just, she just lays back, and that makes him even more pissed. And then here comes Sam at the last second, just being like, "Come on, we gotta go, we gotta leave." You really get a sense of watch, especially coming up to I think the first commercial break. You literally see that this entire situation is revolving around grief and the paths it has taken in people.
Mm.
Actually, I think the first commercial break was right before the sexual assault.
Yeah, it was it was Al telling Sam.
Yeah. So, but there is definitely a commercial break on Dylan, at the beach. Ooh,
Yeah, okay, yeah, that's what I'm remembering. That's the second commercial break. The third one is well, we'll get to that.
Yeah. So sorry, Sean, after you.
So they return to so the gang immediately go, "Hey, where's the most likely place they've gone? The diner." And Ernie goes out with a shotgun going, "Hey, that motherfucker stole my son's bike. Like, he's going down the border." And they leave. But Sam and Becky are actually in the diner.
Clever
Because Ernie, despite everything, is a good person.
Mm-hmm. And Ernie, God love him, you could tell he really does care because he really does care. But Becky is, of course, as Sam is saying, there's a home, there's a place, you could work here, you could hear the stories. But Becky is all she's focused on is going on the road and going.
Because her favorite author is one Jack Kerouac.
On the Road by Jack Kerouac.
Have any of us read On the Road?
I have not.
Yeah, Al.
I love this Al speech.
When Al is talking to Sam about Kerouac, he references it.
I love this speech because. Go ahead, Sean.
I think he even references it right at the beginning of the episode. I think the Wild Child, or is that Burroughs?
The Wild one, the Wild Ones. I think he's talking about because he mentions Marlon Brando, so I think he's talking about like an old motorcycle movie with Marlon Brando.
Fair enough. Motorcycle films were not my thing.
Yeah.
And my brother was more the beat poet than I.
Yeah. But I love Al's speech here about the virtues of Kerouac, where he's just like, oh, he's about freedom and traveling on the road. and self-expression and free love, and Sam just goes, "Bet you love that last part."
And he talks about the 50s as being conformist, materialistic, repressive, boring, and stupid. Kind of familiar.
Yeah.
Or time.
Yeah,
But also,
it's the Republican Nirvana. Oops, I shouldn't have said that.
oops, what? Go political and quantum. No, but this is what I love about Quantum Leap. It is in a sense boomer nostalgia, but it's unafraid to show warts and all. The 50s kind of fucking sucked in a lot of ways.
Yeah, though, it's I think one of the more telling casting choices on this front is Ernie, who is played by a black man.
Yeah.
And the entire rest of the supporting cast is white. It's not explicitly stated the implications therein, but it's there.
Yeah.
Now that you mention that, they don't even really, they don't even play off the time.
Well,
when you think about it like that.
I mean, if you want a Quantum Leap that plays off the time, take your pick. There's like 3 or 4.
Yeah, good. Oh god.
We'll probably be getting to one of those at some point.
At some point, yes. It could even be the next spin of Fate's Wide Wheel. Who knows?
Oh, god. Next time, Justice. Oh god.
Oh, don't tempt the wheel like that. Don't tempt the wheel like that.
Again, it's only funny if we get an Evil Leaper episode this early on.
Yes, that's true. That's true. But
Kerouac.
This is the key to helping Becky, because she does want to leave for a better future because she wants to go on the road and whatever. And luckily for us, Jack Kerouac, the author, is beatnik the right word to use to describe this man?
I'd call him a drifter.
Just this weird, free-spirited guy. He lives 10 miles up the road in a cabin, and Sam goes to see him, and it's very interesting.
Kerouac is a fascinating character. He's a fascinating person in real life, but he's also really fascinating in this particular story, because you can tell right off when we first meet him, he's just like Al. When Al mentions him, and Al mentions how he met him and how when he talked, he lit up the room. You can feel that energy even the moment Sam walks in the door.
Oh yeah.
It's like you can feel him just expounding and talking about, and you can just feel this energy of just.
Yeah.
It's hard to describe.
It's at the same time though, you can absolutely feel the alcoholism. It's again not playing it as he's inherently the heroic figure. He's not 100% perfect. It's warts and all.
Yeah.
He was an alcoholic.
And again, is going to that theme of men and their traumas. So, a crippling alcoholism is indeed a trauma. He does say a lot about freedom of expression and the freedom, and basically it's like, I'm not going to tell her to stay put. That goes completely against my ethos. What are you talking about?
And so, yeah, even near the end, though, Sam is trying to talk to Kerouac and being like, why not, tell him, instead of being free, be yourself.
Yeah.
Which is a bit pat, if I'm being honest. Yeah, I don't know. For some reason I get a vibe of conservatism to that, the implications of that. Like, not the overall episode, but just it's a mild vibe of conservative thought.
I get where you're coming from there, yeah.
Oh, but
it's not
after
quite,
that.
It's not quite settle down and have children with a husband, but
Yeah.
But yeah, and then shit goes from bad to worse in our climax.
Yep, Sam, kind of downtrodden after not succeeding with Kerouac, goes back to the diner, and the Great Pretender is blaring out of the diner. Like, you could hear the music. And
Once again, the Platter's playing the Great Pretender.
And then, as Sam walks in, here is Dylan, lighting a cigarette, going, "But it's your song, Bone."
Oh dear.
Damn, like that's a good shot. You can just faintly see him in the background before he lights the match.
God damn. Cinema.
The man.
I think the most chilling thing about Dylan is because, he's so far he's been, ha ha ha. Well, aside from the beach thing, he's been, yeah, I'm the reasonable one. I'm palling around with you, And Sam goes into this thing. I was going to Mexico, but I got lost. And Dylan just goes, why don't I find you funny anymore, Bone?
Yeah, you can tell by this point, none of the Dylan that we met at the beginning of the story, there is none of that anymore. It's full on trauma-ridden, dark, depressed Dylan.
Yep.
And things go from bad to worse as Mad Dog is playing around with Ernie's son's bike. And when Ernie tries to stop him, he shoves him over. And this is when enough is enough. Ass must be kicked.
Mm-hmm. It's very much a fight scene from the late '80s, early '90s.
Look, they loved the roundhouse kick that Sam delivers to Mad Dog so much that in season 4 and probably even the season 5 it's part of the intro. Ooh, it's Quantum Leap! Bam!
What's kind of it's just like, do these people just have like a lot of like background tapes of Walker Texas Ranger? They just put one in and be like, how do you roundhouse kick?
Oh Jesus.
I mean, it's either that or fight like friggin' Captain Kirk from Star Trek.
Or that.
I do not have Cat's soundboard, so I can't play the Gorn fight theme.
Da 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 da.
We really need to get a soundboard.
Or get me to edit more sounds into this shit when I'm doing it.
Or go get Cat for an episode.
Or that. All of the above. Anyway, I love that for all Mad Dog's been hyped up as, ooh, I'm a badass, ooh, I'm gonna knife you. One kick and the motherfucker is down.
Yeah, that's like... Oh, okay, yeah, this is actually... Mike knows which comic I'm about to reference.
Oh, no.
For God's sakes.
Yeah, so in Justice League comics in the '80s, written by James DeMatteis and Kevin McGuire, and Kevin McGuire did the art, but I'm trying. Why am I blanking on the name? Of the other one. Keith Giffen.
Uh-huh.
And there's a famous panel where, okay, so Guy Gardner, Green Lantern, is basically this guy who's very much a blowhard jerk who very much wants to be seen as the top dog alpha man, and he's on a team with Batman. Oh. So he finally goes, I'm gonna fight you without my Green Lantern ring. And Batman takes him down in one punch.
Oh,
Guy Gardner to show up in the new Superman film, played by Nathan Fillion.
Oh, Christ.
Oh, this is...
Oh. Oh, God. Guy Gardner.
It's almost comedic. It's almost hilarious. Bad Dog, all this bluster, all this talking. Ooh, I'm gonna cut you. One kick, down on the ground, out cold. And then Dylan comes over. He's like, oh, so the kid knows a little taekwondo. Kicks dust in his eyes.
Pocket Sand. I should mention the fun little factoid, since you already brought up DC Comics. Dylan in this episode is played by Diedrich Bader, who went on
Oh,
to be the
shit.
voice of Batman in The Brave and the Bold.
He is also known as Hoss Delgado in The Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy, and would also later go on to play Booster Gold in Justice League Action.
Oh,
my
for
God.
God's sake.
Christ.
I'm gonna find out a lot during the series, I know.
I mean, I don't know how many more DC Comics connections we can make with Quantum Leap here, but we'll find out together, viewers. So yeah, fight scene between Sam and Dylan, and Sam has been blinded, but luckily Al is there to tell him, duck, punch, kick.
Like he's playing. Like I almost have expected Al to pull out like a freaking arcade stick and be like, "I'm playing Mortal Kombat. Hang on."
Oh jeez. Some Parappa the Rapper
Now you're
stuff.
playing with power.
Oh,
Sam! I found this glove and it lets me control the game.
it's called a power glove.
Christ. But, well, the day is saved thanks to the power of incredible violence used against abusers, and Dylan and Mad Dog go to jail for
Not
crimes.
just them. I think the whole gang goes to jail.
well.
Yeah, but we only see Dylan and Mad Dog go in the police car.
Mm-hmm. But that's the main problem. But Becky's still not. Her problems are still not resolved. She's still going to wander off and disappear off the grid. But that's until Jack Kerouac.
This is another point where I'm gonna put a line in the sand, but I'm not gonna go too deep. Once again, I'm not gonna go too deep into this. But this is basically like another episode of Quantum Leap called "How the Test Was Run."
No, it's not that. No. He doesn't. Sam doesn't inspire any shit from Kerouac. It is a kiss with history, but it's a more tasteful one because it's just,
Yeah,
hey,
that's exactly what I was about to say. Is that this is literally a better, tasteful, and more meaningful.
yeah, because it's not like hey, I inspired this famous person all along. It's hey, this famous person exists and he's gonna give you some words of wisdom, and his words of wisdom are neat. I mean, his whole thing about the road and traveling and all that, I think back to the beginning of the episode where Sam is like, oh, a metaphor is when words don't just mean what they say, which the road and traveling is a metaphor for the act of quantum leaping itself.
Yeah, so like we basically this is just a moment in his life as opposed to what happens in that episode, which I'm looking up right now, and oh god dang it, why?
Now you know.
I mean, it's not as bad as Back to the Future one, but come on.
Oh yeah.
But how Kerouac puts it, and once again, Al proving 100% correct, Kerouac walked into the room and lit it up like wildfire. He tells Becky, your road isn't the road. Your road is your life.
The people you touch, the people you change, all those different people you are, Sam.
Quantum leaping.
Quantum leaping. And Becky, and because Becky's life changed, Ernie's life changed.
Yeah, she stays on as a waitress at the diner, and so that means that when Ernie's son's remains are found, he has someone to help him cope with the loss, so he doesn't die. And so generally, we improved. I think you had a good point about this, Mike, is that it started small. Oh, you're here to save this one person, and it sort of snowballed out, and then ended up, oh, we changed the lives of like 3 people these days. This time for the better.
and
Yeah.
Becky herself does become a novelist.
Yep. It turns this place into a prison of grief into a place of hope.
Hmm.
And ain't that just Quantum Leap in a nutshell?
And then Sam finds himself ringing a doorbell with wearing sunglasses and confronting a woman who is very not pleased to see him.
Okay, I think this is the weird thing that they did for these episodes, which is that the next episode is A Little Miracle, which is it's their Christmas Carol episode. But what they would do a lot of the times is they would have reruns. So this is actually an earlier season 2 episode. I think it's called Her Charm.
Her charm. Yep.
Yeah. So what they
One
would
of
do is when they would rerun these episodes, they would tack on the leap in to the at the end of the new episode, and it's very confusing. You're watching this new
Yeah.
episode, and then you go back, and it's like, oh, you've leapt into Kamikaze Kid for the third time.
Yeah. Welcome. Yeah. This is the basis for the Fates Wide Wheel. We don't know when we're going, where we're going, and you get to come along with us, viewers.
Well, we'll spin that in a moment, but should we wrap up with our final thoughts on the Rebel Without a Clue?
I was rather charmed by it. It was nice.
Anything else to add, Sean?
Not really. It was nice.
Mike?
Honestly, this is a perfect, like a perfectly. This is an average episode of Quantum Leap coming in, and Sam coming into this situation, and putting things right, but making things better, not just for the person he has to save, but for everything around her. It is a perfectly average episode of Quantum Leap, but with that added helping of Ernie.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm in this. It's a good episode, and it is quite fitting for the early days of this little podcast because it is emblematic of the typical Quantum Leap. You've got lives to make better. You've got a unique setting, and you've got unflinching confrontation of the darker hearts of the American psyche and American history in itself, the Korean War, and the horrible traumas that people in this episode attempt to inflict on others, and also just a weird, fun dude, and Jack Kerouac. This is a nice, solid Quantum Leap episode, and it's one I've only seen once before because it's just they had 97 of these. Not all of them are like super winners, but not all of them are like terrible. It's perfectly average, but I don't know what we'll have next because one of you kids is gonna have to spin the wheel.
Okay. I have the wheel open in front of me, so I'll spin the wheel.
All right.
Oh, God, please.
All right. We're blaming you if it lands on something terrible.
Please.
And the next episode is
If he bursts out laughing, I swear to God.
Well, now you've said that.
Black on White on Fire.
Oh,
Oh,
Christ! Well, you wanted one that was going to tackle all the racism. Well, here you go.
Oh,
I mean, I thought we agreed that we weren't going to do the heavy hitting ones for the first 10.
Oh, okay. Do we want to re-roll then?
you know what? If you want me to roll it, I'll roll it.
Yeah, let Sean roll again. Sean, roll again.
All right.
We're re-rolling. We're using our executive decisions.
We're using ours because we're trying not to be, for the first 10 episodes, we're trying not to dive into...
We say, as Dylan attempts to commit an assault in this episode.
Yeah.
A Song for the Soul.
Oh, that one's good. That one, oh, I know that one.
Okay, yeah, I can deal with that.
That one's the gospel singer one.
Yeah, the trio. Yeah. It's got some. There's a real nasty piece of work in it, but I think we can handle that.
Yeah, that one's good.
Okay, we can. Okay, fine. Okay, we're gonna lock it in, and in 2 weeks maybe we'll be like, oh, why did we do this? Oh, this is way too hard. But okay, next time on Quantum Leap Reviews, the season 4 episode, A Song for the Soul. At least I'm pretty sure it's season 4.
Yeah, I think it's season 4.
I think so. But well, we're gonna we're gonna do our little sign off. You can find us lovely people on Bluesky at Freezing Inferno, at Michael Hoovian, at DeathChrist2000. I'm on Twitch every Monday night, 7 p.m. EST from Monday Night Fresno. Mike, Sean, anything to plug?
I write reviews for the. Sorry, hey Mike.
Sean, you go next. You started more.
I write reviews for the Beat, mainly comics, mostly trade, sometimes single issues, and I'm currently working on stuff in the background. Mike.
I have a small blog, Michael Hoovian Thoughts, at blogspot.com. That's mainly for random thoughts I have when I finish games or shows or episodes or anything. I usually just write something down there. It's helping me get out of this funk I'm in, but it's been helping a bit, and I'm just trying to keep it going. Nose to the grindstone.
Good news, now that I've finally freed myself from obsessively playing Monster Hunter Wilds for a week, maybe I might do some writing before next weekend. We'll see. But,
writing about the Wizard of Oz.
Not that.
Yeah.
Not that.
I mean, we could be doing the Twin Peaks podcast.
We could be, but we're doing this. So.
Yes. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Wizard of Oz podcast.
So L. Frank Baum was very much into strong female protagonists.
Please. I'm turning this podcast around. Good night, everybody, and we'll see you next time.
No, you cannot do this.
No, okay, but before I leave, please do check out the other podcasts in our podcast umbrella: Doctor Who reviews from Rainiac and Kamen Rider reviews from Kajiri.
And remember, Rainiac, if once the Boogeyman is hit, you will be on the show.
You're being drafted. I can't stop him, Rain. I can't stop him. So,
Yep.
All that remains to be said is thank you very much for listening to our little podcast on Rebel Without a Clue. We'll be seeing you next time for A Song for the Soul. Hopefully it will be good and not soul draining. So, if you are watching, thank you very much for watching. We hope you enjoy whatever it is you watch next, and we'll be seeing you. And one more last thing, we still miss you, Matt. Good night, everybody.
Night.
I've hit the recording button. Now I gotta clear my throat naturally, having done that.
See, now if you just record, now we can get like all the bloopers in.
That's more work for me. So we'll see. This isn't blooper reel worthy, my guy.
So anyway, the Wizard of Oz.
So anyway.
Right.